Yeah, it's your boy, Mr. Kodak, and the kid, Vengeful Shadow.
What up?
Just popping in, y'all, real briefly. Hey, as you know, and if you didn't know, my boy, Vengeful Shadow, hence the Twitch name right there. Twitch TV, Vengeful Shadow. Follow my boy. Go ahead. This is he handles the market watch, and he's the guy that lets you know where to invest your pennies with those penny stocks, right? He's been doing this for a very long time. We were just discussing how my man is can no longer say he's not a player because he made it to platform with Eldridge. But we're gonna leave that alone right now. He has been commentating, have his hands in the pie the entire time, but he here giving y'all some of his inside knowledge of some of the stuff he's been doing for years. So I would definitely take heed to the information he's giving away on the other side over there, especially if you into making money and who doesn't need extra money, right?
Especially now.
And right now, I'm here to start dropping some new content, which I'm gonna start doing on the channel. I am tired of picking up my phone after I read a good ass card and ask one of my partners, like, bro, why does nobody play this card? Bro, have you read this card? Bro, when is this card coming out? And Guardian Chimera is one of those cards that made that when is this card coming out list. Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you. Normally, most people heavily invest in shit like this before they get this copy information out. I, on the other hand, because I'm a procrastinator and I just also don't have the time, because I do other things with my time, I read this card and I'm like, you know what? I've been meaning to start a new series, and I just cannot not talk about this card. So this is how we gonna start the series off with Guardian Chimera Beast Fusion 3300 ass and titties both ways. You know what I'm saying? Shit's crazy. Normally monsters don't have 3300 defense and 3300 attack. It's like absolutely insane. So with an Alistair for all those glue eaters, 3300 plus 1,000 is 4,300. You getting over everything in the meta right now. I can't think of nothing that's getting over there outside my boy with that good old kaiju package, because we all know it's a kaiju for that. But three monsters with three different names must be fusion summoned using only fusion monsters from your hand and field with at least one monster for each. If this card is fusion summoned by a spell card or an effect, you can draw cards equal to the number of cards used as material from hand. And if you do, destroy cards your opponent controls equal to the number of materials from the field. So, you can only use this effect of Guardian Chimera once per turn. While Polymerization is in your graveyard, your opponent cannot target this card with effects. This card is absolutely insane. Now, I don't know if it's because I smoke an extremely amount of flower. We're gonna use a friendly term. Keep it friendly for the YouTube. If you're trying to get ride that ride with us, we definitely got the Twitch right below my face. But on that note, this card's insane. It allows you to draw and pop cards. So not only can you draw two if you fuse two from hand, but you can choose to fuse one from hand to pop two on field. And in the game in which we play in a meta in which Verte is like the ultimate combo extender or ender, if you will. You have a play, you make a play, your opponent negates the play, you make another play, they negate that play, you take those two monsters, and you make a Verte. Okay? The logic that I have behind why this card is absolutely insane is if your opponent negates your cards and you make this Chimera, you're going to draw to potentially get more resources. He's a body on field for links. You can use his effect the following turn by fusing off with himself if he's still there. He cannot be targeted in 33. That's pretty beefy. That's kind of a problem. The fact that Verte sends for cost. I have dueled a couple people and had a Destiny Fusion in my deck. Chose not to send the Destiny Fusion because they could have negated. But when I send the poly, they don't negate it. They're almost like curious.
They don't care.
Yeah, they're like, what the fuck is he about to do? And then you're like, Chimera, send the link the link to the Verte from field, 2 cards from your hand, and then you're like, yeah, draw 2, pop 1, and now you're back in the driver's seat with follow up where you just were stuck and had nothing. Um, Opening polymerization actually is not bad. You
No.
go from like polymerization now becomes an extender. That's basically what it is. It's an extender and a draw card at this moment now. Especially if you have cards that play from the graveyard. So as we look into some of these cards that are in the meta, um, just kind of like a glimpse at what this card or what this deck is good against. But I guess before we even roll down that path, we'll look into the, for one, you don't even get the best benefit out of this card if polymerization is not out of your graveyard because it can't be targeted when it's in there, and that's fucking insane for cards like breakthrough skill, fucking effect veiler. You have imperm, chalice, anything of that nature, fog blade, which would negate it on summon that your opponent would have. Can't be used because poly will be in the graveyard, so that's instantly like putting you up there in a very, very nice situation. I believe in playing more than one of these because if you fuse into it or use the poly the hard way, the second time, if you go into a Verte and actually use a greater polymerization, you will gain the same thing using one fusion monster from extra deck, using 3 or more monsters from your hand and or field. These are the only 2 cards in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Please correct me if I'm wrong because I have not seen any. That's what the comments are down there for. I don't claim to be Yugi himself, you know what I'm saying? But these are the only 2 cards that I saw that allow you minus fusion gate because it banishes, which is also why it's up here. Allows you to fusion from hand and field. Very rarely, like super poly, you can't super poly into this monster
Yeah.
because super poly only allows from field, not hand. So to find the fusion card that allows you to go from hand and field was the trick here, and these 2 polymerizations are the ones to get it done. But the greater
Yeah, without
polymerization,
being name specific too. Like
yeah,
that's the other thing. It's like Shadows and stuff like they have like little ones, but they have to be like for Shadow monsters a lot of the time for the
yeah,
hands.
basically locking you into archetype specific things to
Mm-hmm.
keeping you from getting too spicy because they knew they was gonna make this card. So wake up, don't be late to the party. I'm trying to tell you right now. You go polymerization on any extender danger with cards in hand, and you just like there. Like on accident, like it just happens. I'm trying to tell you because I played it for a Verte and then drew it one time, and I'm like, okay, this is nuts. But the second time, if you actually commit to playing more than one of these, or your deck actually main decks poly, and you go Verte into this instead to foolish this, so now polymerization is in your graveyard, so the monster can be targeted, and with the additional effect of cannot being destroyed by card effects, because greater polymerization gives whatever monster you fuse with the ability to not be destroyed by card effects or piercing. So now at that point it can be targeted or destroyed by card effects or piercing. So there are a few cards in the meta, such as Destiny Phoenix Enforcer, which is why I also have him here. Prank Kids Battle and Butler. Uh, Elden, the Golden Lord, does target, so not that one. All of the rest of these kind of target, and Conquistador. So Conquistador, Phoenix Enforcer, and Battler Butler are the non-targeting destruction kind of our meta right now. So if you use greater polymerization and already have a poly in the graveyard, you just kind of like make yourself immune to those cards. Not to mention Afterburner as well. That's something that I didn't put in here. Both Afterburner and the one that destroys a set and non-target pops the other Sky Striker card. But you'll basically be completely invulnerable to both of those. If any point in time you have a polymerization in your card, your deck, in your grave, and you link into a Verte to put the greater polymerization in grave. So I just found it very interesting soft lock for a 3300 monster that allows you to draw and destroy cards. I do feel like this card will eventually be, if not in every deck shortly, very very soon. I mean, because if you just honestly take a look at what's currently in the meta, not to mention it ain't really too many things that's dealing with 3300 pop draw multiples. it's a nice addition to potentially, like I said, like a gateway to extension. And then just looking at other tech cards to get this done, you got this fusion recycling plant allows you to discard an out of poly from anywhere. Fusion gate, which allows you to banish from anywhere, from hand or field, so you can just like make this freely with no poly, but you won't get the banish effect, which is, I mean, the non-targeting effect, which is clearly the best. King of the Swamp, which allows you to, interestingly enough, search poly off of a discard, and Debris Dragon, which is currently at 3, allows you to normal summon, bring back, and now you got 2 monsters on field for a pop after searching. So it's like it's pretty good. Like I don't, I'm seeing potential here for just random things. We just had a deck top card base. It just had random good cards in it. There was once upon a time in Yu-Gi-Oh! Where archetypes weren't really as prevalent. We just had good cards like Spell Striker, summon this Monarch, Book of Moon, your monster, summon this T-King, set a bottomless. Those were like days that I I miss, but I
Yeah.
digress. In this moment, this is what we stuck with. But we are actually making our way back full circle to like more of let me see what your brain is capable of coming up with versus more streamlined straight archetypes. Um and I'm here for that, man. I'm here for that. Phantom Knight, Punishment, both targeting trap cards is heavily played in the meta right now. Snow, Imperm, Widow Anchor, Chalice, Veiler, Baron because it targets, Eldritch because it targets. Like all of these cards target. And this card right here, bro, I don't know, Benji. Right now, I think I'm not the market watch guy, but I think last time I checked, it was $17, and this is exactly why I'm not the market watch guy because
Yeah, I think when I picked up mine like a little bit ago, it was like literally $18. They might have like the next AD right now is like 20, but they would probably even go down first. The other thing too I want to add, like with the Guardian, is like not only is it what it's good against, but it's what it's good in because you can basically use it in almost any deck. Like you can
facts.
literally tuck a Poly in anything. Another way to add Poly is Blaze Man. Elemental Hero Blazeman, which is a monster
Mm.
on board, immediately poly to hand. So that's your one monster on board, and then you can hit 2 out of hand to get a nice refresh. And you can get a Mally, something else, draw 2, get a Vanish. And the other thing I want to say with like Chimera, that's like could be a huge plus is like in things like Shaddolls or things like prank kids. I understand you don't always want to use prank kids for non-prank kid stuff, but to be fair,
Huh.
sometimes you have to.
Yeah.
And with certain things like especially Shaddol, if you use spell memorization and hit out like 2 Shaddolls from your hand and 1 on the board, you're going to start chain blocking with this card. Okay, this is a chain block card because when it's summoned, it gets an effect off. So if you use cards that activate when they're in the grave, if I'm correct, you can chain block with this, correct?
Yeah,
That's your go-to.
and to be
Yeah,
completely honest,
and they can't
you
be
do
targeted, and
you need to
yeah,
kind of be aware because
mm-hmm.
of a point that you also made. It is one weaknesses this card does have that people do main deck and play right now, and that would be Ash. Because this card says you have to draw the amount of cards
Yep,
used from your hand, and if you do, pop cards on field. So if your opponent
yeah,
ashes, you won't get that draw, and therefore you won't get the pop. But that's
yeah.
why I said this is more of like an extender. But if you chain block it with something like Shadal's, you're absolutely right. Like that's insane,
Yeah,
insane.
so you choose which effects go off, which is like one of the like chains are everything in Yu-Gi-Oh. That's literally what Yu-Gi-Oh is about is chaining, and like chain blocking is like the highest tier of like a deck you can get. So things like Shaddolls will heavily like this card. I think they'll play at 33, like you said, is very hard to get over. So even as like a finisher or an emergency boss monster to go into, not only will it get you at least 1 resource, but you're gonna be able to destroy cards on the board. Um, like I said, with the chain blocking, it just makes everything. Oh yeah, that's right. That's what I was going with. So polymerization itself is a very hard card to stop. There's
Yeah,
not a lot of cards that like stop it because like they play monster negations. Okay, so polymerization inadvertently is like one of those cards that unless your opponent still main decks like solemn warning, which they do not,
yeah.
you can get it off. Like
Speaking
unless
of
they're like
which,
having like a harbinger on the
I know
board,
I'm about to
like
sound
you can get
crazy
it off.
right now, but I've been on the Solemn Warning is almost
Oh dude,
better than Solemn
warning's
Strike.
great.
I think Warning is
Um,
better than Strike. Now listen, Strike is busted.
Depends the deck. Depends what you're playing. Like if you're playing a
Absolutely. But I
Strider,
guess
it's
what I
insane.
believe and what, in the
Yeah,
era in
straight
which we
too.
play Yu-Gi-Oh, certain things need to be stopped, right?
Yeah,
You are going to activate a lot of monster effects. You know what I'm saying? But that one spell effect or the monster effect to summon the monster at the cost of 500, I'm still hitting an extra effect, but also got the potential to hit that spell, that
Yeah.
branded spell, that fusion spell, the one spell that your opponent need that, like you said, bro, poly. Like, who's stopping a poly? And if my opponent is stopping a poly right now, a hard poly is because they got a judgment. And will I
Yeah.
make that
Exactly.
trade? Every time, bro. Judgment for a poly? Come on now.
Yeah. And 4,000
Come on
or
now.
whatever it is.
4,000.
Yeah.
Hey, look, I try to keep the video short, but look, I see it ain't gonna get in today. Because sometimes when you talking about a card, you just gotta explain to motherfuckers. Well, can I say that on here?
Yeah. Well, wait.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know about that one.
Sometimes you gotta explain to motherfuckers that is real. All right, I want you to know it's depth behind this. All right, now all of these texts they might not be necessary, but in order for you to run this package, it literally is one poly, one verte chimera, and then you're gonna draw that poly and wish you had more than one chimera, and you could still later verte another poly. So that's gonna lead you to more than one poly and more than one chimera, which brings you to buy your three chimeras now. Like me, I only got one. Yeah, I need to be like y'all and be like me, and we need to be like each other and go at least get two. You know what I'm saying? At least two. Like,
Play set. Always play set. Never not play set.
right? Just get
You
the
gotta
play
get
set,
play set.
scratch
Just
it. Just
buy
get the play set and
buy
hold it
three.
so when it
Buy
go up
two
later, you can
Samara.
make money off the third. That's just what we do.
Exactly.
Hey, look,
Exactly.
it's late. I definitely got to go to work tomorrow, but I'm about to irresponsibly stream. I just wanted to get this out here, get this content to the people. And hey, next time, um, I don't know. I think I'll have this a little smoother. We'll edit it. Hey, this is a slow process, baby steps. We gonna get there. Hey, check out the stream, Vengeful Shadow, Mr. Kodak, and we out. Peace.